Hi there everybody, take that as read. So OreCorp at a glance, we're advancing our Nyanzaga gold project in Tanzania where we've identified a 3 million ounce resource, a bit over 4 grams. An opportunity there for 4 million tonne per annum, producing over 200,000 ounces a year. Back just south, we've got a nice nickel, copper, cobalt project that we're advancing from Greenfields Exploration, just got some interesting drill results. And a corporate strong position with cash, just under 18 million Aussie, and also opportunity to acquire additional projects. Very experienced board and management. We experienced a few setbacks last year in Tanzania, managed to retain full board of management and pretty well a full register. We've got some excellent shareholders that include JP Morgan, West Oz and Australian Super, and a good capital structure. In Tanzania last year there was a move to change the legislative framework of the country. This involved quite a radical plan. It also affected most stocks there quite adversely. It was quite an abrupt change. Since that time we've steadily seen, I think, a thawing of relations. Barrick now seem to have the bones of a deal with government. You've seen the Mining Commission, there was a report on Friday that's suggesting that is about formed now. We've also seen a draft set of the regulations coming out. Shanta Gold, for example, has just started also receiving some VAT refunds. And we've also had positive meetings with all the new ministers of Minerals and Energy. Plus, the Department of Minerals and Energy is now split into two, which is also deemed to be a positive. Our project sits in one of the most well-endowed greenstone provinces on earth, that of the Lake Victorian goldfields, where you are with elephants in elephant country. The earning joint venture agreement that we have with Acacia sees us going to 51% at the conclusion of a DFS if the NPV is lower than 200 million. I think it's fair to say with the prevailing legislative framework and also the current gold price, we would be gaining control of that project. We'd also obviously like to seize this opportunity if there was one to advance further than that. Our focus on high grade, when we inherited this project, it was 100 million tonnes at a bit over a gram, which wasn't too much use at $1,300 gold. We then set about lifting grade, reducing tonnes and preserving ounces. This deposit is all in one deposit. It's not a West African string of pearls. It also has 88% of that resource in the measured and indicated categories, which sets us well aside from the rest. It will be the resource that takes us through to reserve at the end of the DFS. When we look at it on a peer comparison, you'll see it's probably paralleled with none on this graph. It sits right out on its own, which gives the project opportunity and choices in terms of how we develop it. To that end, we've looked at both an open pit and underground scenario. You'll see there the ounces per vertical metre, up to 11,000. This lends a certain part or a deeper part of the resource to be mined by underground, and the remainder of it obviously being mined in an open pit. To that end, the open pit will be around about 400 metres deep. It will take out around about 60% of the current resource, with the remaining 40% being accessed via decline on a portal on the side of the hill. We ultimately plan to move 3 million tonnes a year out of the open pit, 1 million tonnes a year out of the underground, to give us a 4 million tonne per annum plant. This will run at a head grade of around about 2 grams to the tonne life of mine and produce on average 213,000 ounces a year. In terms of pre-production capital, they're just under 300 million. These don't include any of the legislative changes, but we don't anticipate the legislative changes to affect capital. It also includes a $33 million contingency. When we look at the operating costs, you'll see that they are attractive. They are around about the 860 mark for all in, 840 for all in sustaining costs. These do not include the legislative changes, which is a lift in royalty and government participation. So in a straight line, we would anticipate that these would go up. The infrastructure in the Lake Victorian region is exceptional for this project. We're graced with power lines to the north and south. We intend to irrigate power in over around about 30 or 40 kilometres from the southern line, water from Lake Victoria, and also skilled labour out of the goldfields. Definitive feasibility study team will be headed by Lycopodium. We're halfway through this. We've managed to retain all key consultants through scope, pre-fees and definitive levels. In terms of permitting and current status, we've applied for special mining licence as a current moratorium on the grant of mining licences and every other licence in Tanzania. We see the formation of the Mining Commission being pivotal to the grant of licences, but in terms of where we are with permitting, the grant of our environmental certificate is of paramount importance. We'd like to think that we'll get this in the coming months, and you'll see that as a quantum leap forward for the step forward for the project. Furthermore, we're conducting regional exploration on the 270 square kilometres that we've got around it, and we're getting quite a bit of success in a regional sense. Stakeholder engagement we take very seriously. We engage government at all levels, from the ministers that I've just mentioned through to local villages. This is very important to keep people on side and obviously bring them along with the project development at the various stages of it. Now I'm going to skip across the continent to Mauritania, where we've got a project called the Just South project. We're around about 80 kilometres south of First Quantum's Welgemeend, which is proved to be an iron oxide copper gold. We're looking here in the Just South project for potential for nickel, copper, cobalt sulfides. This we generated from a greenfields prospect in around about 2011. Have steadily progressed it through various phases of geochemistry, trenching, IP and EM. We've completed our first round of diamond drilling. That gave us some interest, particularly around what we call anomaly 5. We then did some more EM and came up with some extremely favourable results. Large, broad intercepts of nickel sulfide mineralisation, up to 63 metres in width downhole. This is giving us a nice start at anomaly 5. We realised then on a regional sense that EM was becoming a powerful exploration tool, and then to that end we've then extended our EM survey to cover vast tracts of the tenement. We hope to identify further extensions to anomaly 5, which we did quite successfully. You can see from that diagram there. But importantly, away to the northeast, we identified this large anomaly called a dorsa. This is around about 2 kilometres long. We've just started drilling on this now. I think it's fair to say if we start to intersect some sulfides in that drilling, that's going to be a huge encouragement. But there's also a plethora of other anomalies in the area that we're ultimately going to work with. You'll notice there's a large area in the centre there that doesn't have anything on it. That's due to a dune field. We intend to fly the tenement with VTEM later on in the year, and I'm sure that's going to provide further anomalism for follow-up. The opportunity here really for a dorsa is to be, both a dorsa and anomaly 5 is either bulk tonnage, sort of a lower grade style of deposit, or something akin to a Nova Bollinger of Sirius fame that's now in the hands of the Independence Group in Perth. In terms of a dorsa there's a bit more of a detailed look. You can see the intensity of that EM anomaly. We've got 4 diamond holes going in initially for stratigraphic purposes, and just to make sure that we're not looking at something like graphite as an anomaly. We don't have any indication of that at the moment, so we're keeping our fingers crossed this is sulfide that we're looking at. So see the little photograph there in the bottom left hand of the screen. Those are garnets about the size of golf balls. They were deemed to be very important in the Nova Bollinger discovery, and something that we've got here at a dorsa and anomaly 5. Third string to our bow now is, whilst Tanzania is undergoing some changes and delays, we basically started also looking at potential acquisitions for the company. This we're enabled to do from our strong board and cash position, and we'll keep looking through projects as we progress both Tanzania and Mauritania. So just to wrap up really, we're a company that's had a few setbacks, had a few delays, but I believe we're working through those now, working forward, looking forward to turning those to our advantage as we progress in Tanzania, and also looking forward to further drill success in the deserts of Mauritania and beyond that with our business development opportunities. Thank you very much for your attention.